Cloud. So thank you, Ashlyn, for joining our call this morning. And thanks everybody for getting on. We have such a special call today. It's going to probably run about an hour. Um, and welcome to our new consultant, Kathy Jordan. Welcome, welcome. She's in Atlanta and is under Sharon LaBracca's team. So really excited to have you here.
Great.
And yeah, yes, did somebody say something? Okay. Um, so I want everybody to know we have somebody very special today. And Shaun, do you want to do the introductions here? I mean, I can talk a little bit about his bio, but you've got, you definitely know how to share. And I'm so excited Princeton Clark is here with us today.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to share. I can talk about it forever.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Okay, so take it away because Princeton is he's a prince. And he is really really embracing the LifeVantage family. And of course, Shaun and Princeton are together and he just loves who we are. So anyway, I'm gonna stop right here before I get tongue-tied. And I'm gonna let Shaun take it over.
Well,
Hello.
and part of it too, I think you have the bio. I don't have that readily available. So I do want to
Okay.
honor him and say the bio. So go ahead and
Yes.
say the bio and then I'll kick in from there.
Okay, perfect. So Princeton Clark is a transformational self-mastery coach. He is also a best-selling author. He's a wellness advocate, and he's a former master coach for Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi. If you see his Instagram, you're going to see the thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of followers that he has. And he has over 20 years of experience in human performance, conscious leadership, personal transformation. He empowers purpose-driven individuals to align their mindset, their health, their habits for long-term success. And he is the founder of Evolved Mastery Global. And he helps leaders like you activate their potential, elevate their impact, and live in alignment with their highest purpose, physically, mentally, and spiritually. So we are so honored to have you. Now I'm going to let Shaun take it away a little bit and just how this all began. So thanks, Shaun.
Yes, of course. All right. So for those that don't know, I'm Shaun Johnson. I'm out of Phoenix, Arizona. I've been with LifeVantage for 8 years now. Been a big testimony of the products. But today I want to highlight, obviously, Princeton. So he's someone special in my life. We've been friends for over a year and then decided to step into a relationship a few months back. And he is just a lovely human, obviously, someone special to me, but obviously dating someone like him. So you heard his bio, and there's so much more even beyond that. But dating someone like that and dating him, there's a high performer, it really kicks you into gear. And so obviously dating someone, he's taken his time and like, okay, getting to know her. And now he's like, okay, Shaun, you're holding back. You are far more powerful than you see yourself. We've got to work on this. And then even calling me out, which is a beautiful thing. Him being a coach, like, you're too comfortable. You need to start stepping out. This is what you need to do. But also co-creating that reality of what I want too. So that's how he's beautiful in a coach of going, what are your goals? What do you want? Why do you want this? And if you don't want it bad enough, we got to dig into what that is and then find those actionable steps. It's not just motivation, it's actionable steps and giving you criteria, a plan, a daily plan, a weekly plan, a monthly plan, in putting all that together. So it's really beautiful. And I even took notes here. And then as far as even holding accountable too, I mean, he won't work with you just like he wouldn't work with me if I'm not holding my end of the bargain. He's given money back to people who paid him for coaching if they weren't willing to do the work. So that's a powerful coach. That's somebody who's willing to work with the workers and not somebody who's going to sit on the sidelines. So he's just a lovely, lovely human. Even beyond that, a sweet, kind, beautiful soul. Holy cow. When you meet him in person, his energy is magnetic. So anyway, I could go on and on about all that. So I
Yes, I got
I
to meet him in person when we had our
yes.
LifeVantage activation tour. He came to that, and wow, there was just
Mhm.
this, energy is everything. Like your energy is your first impression. And so you have a
Yes.
beautiful first impression, Princeton.
Yes, no, he's present, he's caring, he sees you, and he's so good at going. And it's not just me. Obviously, I'm a little biased here, but at the same time, I got to experience him as just a platonic, amazing friend as a coach because I went to and saw him speak at a couple of events prior. He's very present with every single person that he's with. Every single person matters. It doesn't matter your story, your background, and he's got an incredible story and background and transformation to getting to where he's at, but he just has this way of seeing you and then helping find those nuggets. He's a gold digger and finds those nuggets to help you see what you're really worth and see you really shine. So it's beautiful. And so now to carry into, he presented a challenge. So if any of you were on the One Person Big Difference call last week, it was a way to hold everybody accountable and using CapCut. So there are five people who have took the challenge seriously. They posted 5 times. So a few of them are on the call. So I'm going to say these names. I don't think everybody's going to be on this call or on this team, but still saying them. So Cindy Quenneville,
Yay, Cindy!
woo!
Yay!
Jolene Miller.
Yay, Jolene. She let me know she could not be on today, but she
Okay,
is going to be listening to the recording. So she's all tuned in.
amazing. Brittany Schritt. I don't know if I'm saying her name.
I think she's on the pose team.
Okay. And then Mia Krishnaswamy. I know she's on
Yay!
here.
My sister. Woohoo!
Yes. Shannon, and last one, Shannon Somerville. My spelling is all. I think she's on the One Person Big Difference, but Shannon on
She
my
is
other,
not on our team.
not on a team. Okay, perfect. Anyway, so there's the five winners. So without much further ado, just gonna hand it over to the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Princeton Clark.
Welcome, Princeton. Thank you so much for being here today. You guys take notes, okay?
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Good morning, Life Vantage family. It's an honor to be here. And, I'm sitting over here, I'm all in my feels right now. You get an introduction like that from someone you love, and then, from someone who you've recently met that really connected to your energy. Connection is very important to me. And so I'll take all the love I can get, and I give it right back to you guys because, we all rise together, right? But listen, I'm excited. I want to be here for a good time, not for a long time. I want to make sure I'm giving you guys something that's going to help you elevate in your life, step into your power, your potential, and your purpose, but give you some tips and some nuggets that you can utilize to start stepping into really maximizing this opportunity that you guys have. But more than that, maximizing the opportunity that you have in your life to be the best, most efficient, most powerful version of you. Now, for those of you in this call today, and those of you who may be watching the recording, a little bit about me. I grew up in a small town in Virginia called Brookneal, Virginia, and I say it's a two-blink town. You blink once, you're halfway through it. You blink twice, you're through it. Small population of people. Most of the people who were born there die there. And, I knew as a kid, I said, I don't want to be here. Like, I don't want my life to be this. And I didn't know what was going to happen. I just knew I had to get out of there. But long story short, and I'm just going to give you a brief synopsis as a child, because we come into these organizations and opportunities like this. And I'm going to tell you, like, people see who I am now. You heard the accolades, the achievements, but how I entered into personal and professional development was actually through an MLM after my life changed. And it was something amazing because, like I said, small town, small minds, you don't really get a lot of this stuff. And so I'm going to the nearest city, and I would hang out there a lot. But, before even getting to that point, as a kid, I was abused mentally, physically, verbally, and emotionally. I was molested between the ages of 9 and 11. I was on medication for ADD, ADHD, and hyperactivity up until about 8th grade when I stopped taking it because I had this epiphany. I realized I didn't have a problem. I actually had a gift. And I didn't really realize the magnitude of that until after my life changed. But I ended up, after becoming a teen and realizing that a lot of things that happened to me weren't normal, I really started struggling with deep depression and my identity. I learned how to wear masks really early. And I had a mask for friends, a mask for families, a mask for different people that I met. And I fragmented myself, which ultimately led me deeper into depression. I barely ended up graduating high school. And, I was the one that they said, wouldn't make it, but I ended up in gangs, on drugs. I was an alcoholic before I was 21. And, I got married at the age of 21 thinking, I want to give my kids the love that I never had. I want to give my family the love that I never had. And I didn't even really know what that looked like. And that has a deep root into why I do the work that I do now. But 3 years later, everything just kind of came to a head for me. And I realized, or at least I thought to myself, I'm no good for anyone. I'm no good for my kids. I'm no good for my family. Everybody will be better off when I'm gone. And I decided to end my life. And sitting in my car around 2 o'clock in the morning, I took my gun and I put my gun to my head and I pulled the trigger and the gun misfired. And every time I tell that story, it hits me deep because I look at how far I've come. I look at where I am now. But that night, sitting in my car, I had this powerful epiphany. And it's true what they say, your life literally flashes before your eyes. And, I'm sitting there, I don't know how long I sit there before this epiphany came to me. But the message that came to me was, you are not where you are because of what happened to you. You are where you are because of how you chose to respond to it. And I sat there and I was thinking about it and thinking about it. And I realized, I said, wait a minute, if I had the power to create the mess of a life that I hated, how much more power did I have to create a life that I love if I started showing up and living like I truly gave a damn? And it changed my life. That week, guys, I quit drinking cold turkey. I quit using drugs cold turkey. I walked away from games. I isolated myself for an entire year. And growing up, I grew up in the Bible Belt of Virginia. So with everything that happened in my life, I just dove deep. And I still didn't go back to a church because I even had pastors in my communities tell my family he's a lost cause because I really didn't care about anything. Just to give you guys an idea of how low I was. And I'm sharing this because there may be some of you experiencing challenges as you're building your business or in your personal life, but I'm here to tell you that no matter how low you are, you can always choose to rise. But I had people tell me, he's a lost cause. And I'm sitting there one day and I'm just reading. I'm studying. And I just realized, with every one thing that I've experienced, there's at least 1 million people experiencing just one of these things. And if I can become the change in my own life, if I can become the inspiration in my own life, I can become the inspiration in so many other people's lives. And I realized even beyond that, the more I learn and apply, the more I can assist others. And so I just developed this hunger for knowledge, this hunger for wisdom. I ended up going back to school. I got a bachelor's in biblical studies and Eastern religion. And I went through ministry for about 5 years before stepping away and going deeper into personal professional development. Now, this is where the MLM comes in. I joined, how many of you are familiar with Quickstar? It used to be Amway. I was with them for a while. And then I've been with several others, Prepaid Legal, and what else? Euphoria, Secret. I mean, I just love the space. And the reason I love the space is because of things like this, because of uplines and leadership and connection. Working for Tony Robbins, fast forward 15 years, I'd say probably about 17 years after my life changed, I ended up working for Tony Robbins, something that I spoke 15 years prior. And I ended up becoming a mastery coach. I helped them develop programs. I helped them build communities and so much more. But when I look back and I look at everything that I've experienced, the growth that I've been able to grow through, it all started with MLMs. It all started with community. It all started with realizing something that Tony has taught for years: success leaves clues. I started getting around the people who were getting the results. I started asking the questions. I was never afraid. When your teachers say there's no such thing as a dumb question, sometimes, looking at society today, you might say, yeah, well, might change my perspective on that a little bit. But, but, I ended up getting under my uplines and I was so hungry. Like, I'm asking questions. I started paying attention when you go to the big events, and I'm paying attention to how people are speaking, which speakers are good at connecting and communicating, which speakers are good at building community. And I would do everything that I could. I'm asking questions. How do you do this? How do you build your downline? How do you really build a community that's strong, that can really build in a way that you can become successful? And the more I dove into personal professional development, the more I ended up really saying, you know what, I want to be one of these leaders, but I want to be a coach. I want to be a speaker. I want to be someone that impacts the world. And so I chose that route. But I'm back again with the Life Vantage family, and I'm really excited, guys. I'm really excited. You know, the more I meet people who are part of this community, because like I said, I've been a part of several, but this community has something special. It's so different. The way they communicate, the way they connect. And if you are not communicating and connecting on a consistent basis, please do so, because you're doing yourself a major disservice by not asking the questions, by not connecting, you know, by not showing up for you, because this is your life. This is your opportunity to do something special with your life. But anyway, I could go on and on, guys, but I want to dive into a few things today. You know, as I said, success leaves clues. And over the years, you know, I've studied conscious psychology, I've studied human motivations, but my expertise is in self-mastery, really helping people to master how they show up in the world, how to own their power, and how to really create change in a way that it creates fulfillment and freedom in whatever they do. And so what I want to give you guys today is, you know, just a little outline of what's required. You know, because as Shaun said, I'm one of those coaches. I'm not the one you come to if you just want to pat on the back, making excuses. It's gonna, you know, elongating the process. I'm the person you come to when you say, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I know that I'm here for purpose. My soul is really calling me to lean forward, and I'm ready to move. I'm the person you come to when you're ready to get kicked off the cliff so you can form your wings and fly. And everybody's not ready to do that. But for those who are, I'm ready to guide you. And, you know, again, I'm really excited to be in this community. But how many of you in this community truly believe and understand that you have a powerful opportunity in your hands right now? With a show of hands, you believe you have a powerful opportunity right now. Awesome. If you don't believe that, you probably shouldn't be here. But, or you may need to talk to your upline and get more engaged, you know, because as I said in the introduction call we had when we introduced the 5-day challenge, I wanted to really get you guys going, you know, but as I said, when you step into something like this, it requires all of you to show up. How you do one thing is how you do everything. And if you only show up as part of yourself, you're only going to get part of the result. If you only show up on the days that it feels good, for all my entrepreneurs, business owners out there, guess what? You probably won't build a successful business. You know, and so you need your tribe, you need your family. But there's some phases you're going to grow through as you're building. There's some phases that you're going to have to become very good friends with. But in order to tap into these zones of growth, how many of you have heard of the 4 zones of growth? Any of you? Okay, good, good. All right, so there's 4, Shaun, of course you've heard it, but there's 4 zones in the personal professional development space that we talk about. And the 4 zones are the number 1 zone, the comfort zone. This is where most people are. I call it the comfortable, miserable place. You know, they're familiar with it. It makes sense. They've been growing through it for a while, you know, but every now and then you get to this point where you're, like I said, you're sick and tired of being sick and tired. Just like I got sick and tired of being sick and tired. And there was this urgency that I had to step forward. There was this urgency that I had to start stepping into what would honor my life. And so what do? You step out of the comfort zone. But when you step out of the comfort zone, there's something that happens. You step into this next zone, and the next zone is the fear zone. A lot of you may be coming into this business. You felt a little fear. You weren't quite confident in yourself. But there's something that happens when you step out of the comfort zone. Understand this, your brain is going to go into one of 2 states, if not both. And that's the remember wins or the what if. Because your brain is trying to quantify or qualify what it already knows, but it can't quantify or qualify what you haven't experienced or learned yet. So what it tries to do is make sense, because it ultimately wants to protect you. It wants your ego, it wants to keep you safe or comfortable where it makes sense. You know, and so sometimes you get a little pushback when your upline is saying, okay, you need to make X amount of calls, you need to do X amount of reach outs in a day. And then maybe you fear hearing no. Maybe you fear, you know, that you're not going to be able to communicate the messages well. Maybe you fear not having enough information. Whatever it is, when you step out of that comfort zone, I need you to change the way you see the fear zone. When you experience fear, for me personally, one of my favorite quotes is, if you change the way you see things, the things you see will change. Now, as you can imagine, stepping out of the life that I was living formerly before my failed attempt on my life, you know, I was very comfortable, but I was miserable. But when I made that decision, to change, there was a lot that I didn't know. There was a lot that I didn't get. And so, as you can imagine, my brain went into this hyperdrive of what if? What if it doesn't work out? What if people don't support you? What if people laugh at you? Who are you from this small town for them to listen to you? Who are you to sell them anything? Who are you to believe that you can inspire and impact people all over the world? What if it doesn't work? What if you give up? What if you go back to being who you were after telling everybody that you were ready for change and you had this awesome opportunity? What if, what if, what if? Remember when, remember when, remember when. And what most people do is they take all these thoughts and they turn it into this brick wall. But for me, when I stepped into the fear zone, I always say fear is an alarm system from my soul, letting me know I'm stepping into something new. When fear pops up, that's the creative engine of your soul. See, a lot of times people confuse excitement with anxiety. No, we're so used to being comfortable that when the engine of our soul comes on and we're ready to move, we see an opportunity. What begins to happen is it gets going on the inside. You get excited and then you start feeling nervous. No, I need you to hold on to that excitement because it's creating an opportunity for you. It's your soul saying, okay, you're ready. Okay, you're getting ready to create something new. I'm excited. I'm ready to move. I'm ready to step into this thing. But you got to be aware of those thoughts that are saying, remember when, what if, and you got to be able to speak over yourself, speak over your life. Tony Robbins talks about getting into peak state. Speaking affirmations over yourself, speaking incantations. Incantations and affirmations are different. When you step out of the comfort zone, there's going to be a lot in your life because of how you've been that doesn't look like where you're going. There's going to be people who question you, who doubt you. There's going to be some circumstances that look like you can't get beyond them. But understand this. You are the root to the tree of your life. And if you want to see the fruit of this vision come to pass, you have to understand that where you plant yourself, where you root yourself, is going to determine how well the tree of your life grows. So as you begin to grow, as you begin to step through the fear, you got to ask yourself one question in the areas where you desire to grow. What is it that I am being called to learn? What opportunity am I being given to learn? What new information is required of me in this area? So just keep it simple. What am I being given an opportunity to learn? Because again, the only reason fear is there is because your brain can't measure or quantify what you haven't experienced yet. So this is where discipline comes in, because you must start creating new experiences. Push yourself outside of what is comfortable. Growth doesn't happen in comfort. It doesn't happen in comfort. It happens. It's just like me working out. When I go to the gym, when I'm working out and I'm pushing that weight, if the weight is just easy and I can just sit there like this, I'm probably not going to experience as much growth. But when I actually focus on time under tension using heavier weight, it forces the blood of growth, the blood of expansion into those muscles, which causes the muscles to expand. Now, see, if you want the muscle of your business to expand, you're going to have to put some pressure on. You're going to have to hold it and keep it moving. Because if you don't, if you just try to do a little bit, do what's comfortable, guess what? You're not going to develop that business. You're not going to develop that team. You're not going to create the new outcome, the new experiences in your life that you desire. And so the third zone after the fear zone is a learning zone. So what I need you to do in that fear zone, if there are areas in your life right now where fear has been popping up, again, fear is an alarm system from my soul, letting me know I'm stepping into something new. So fear really is a doorway. I need you to start seeing that as a doorway. Change your perception of fear, because again, it's just something that you don't know. On the other side of fear, if you just open that door and step through, again, you have upline, success leaves clues. Start connecting to the people who are winning, the people with positive attitudes, the people who are putting the work in every day. Connect them, because they're going to be able to give you information. You're going to be able to learn something new. And that learning zone is on the other side of fear. Your brain is just afraid of what it doesn't know. It's trying to measure what it doesn't know. That's all fear is when we're talking about personal professional development. Because, we talk about, being under a threat, gun, robbery, whatever. That's a different kind of fear. It's not about what I need to know. It's about, I need to get the hell out of here. Excuse my language. I need to get out of here. But in the personal professional development space, it's all about what you get to learn, what you get to grow into, the version of you that you get to become. You know, and one exercise that I'll have my clients do, and you guys can do this, is on a piece of paper, I'll have them draw a line down the middle. On one side, they put my life as it is. And they write out all up, they've just brained up on that one side. What is their life currently? What does it look like? Do they have peace? Is there joy in their life? Are their relationships healthy? How do they wake up every day? What are their habits? And then on the other side of that line, you write my life as I desire it to be. My life as I desire it to be. And on that side, you write down what that successful life, that healthy life, that thriving life, write down what it looks like. And I want you to imagine as you're doing that, what that version of you is doing compared to the version of you that's currently creating the life that you're in. It's all about stylizing your life. We call it a lifestyle for a reason. You get to style your life. Your habits, your thoughts, your actions, your words have created the current reality that you're in. And if you do not like that reality, or you're not getting the results that you want in that reality, let's start to dream again. You know, we talked about that in the intro call, like learning to dream again. Go back to that inner child, that little you that believed anything was possible. You ask little kids, what would they want to be? I want to be an astronaut. I want to be the president. Like, they have big dreams. Like, they don't believe anything is impossible. And I want you to start dreaming as if anything is possible for you. If you've seen a vision, you connected to this business, or maybe you've been in personal growth or personal development for a while, you've been on this journey for a while. If there is a vision that has come to you that shows you that you can be successful, that you can grow a business, that you can create the life of freedom and fulfillment that you desire, your spirit will never reveal something to you that's impossible for you. So if you see that it's possible, literally the only thing stopping you from getting it is you. That's the only thing. And so when I write down, if I'm doing this assignment and I write down my life as it is, my life as I desire it to be, I sit with those desires. I feel what it would feel like. I imagine the version of Princeton that is successful, the version of Princeton that's impacting people all over the world, the version of Princeton that's worked with some of the best in the industry, the version of Princeton that's created a multi-million-dollar organization that's impacting people all over the world, developing leaders, you know, that has a beautiful family that he loves, where he's cherished everywhere he goes. That version of Princeton that's traveling the world. I really start feeling, what does that feel like? And I've done this for years. And then what I do, the third part of this assignment is I'll take 3 to 5 of those areas that I'd like to develop, and I make those goals. Now, a lot of you may be familiar with writing down your goals. If you're not, this is going to help you. When it comes to writing down your goals, I always tell my clients, don't just write your goal. I want to hit X amount of volume this month. No, don't just write it down like that. You know, I want to make this Thailand trip. No, don't just write it down like that. Write the goal, and then write down the steps as far as you can see from where you are. Write down the steps that you can see to achieving that goal. And I want you to do this with 3 to 5 things on my life as I desire it to be. You know, maybe you want to get healthier. Maybe you want to lose weight. You know, maybe you want to build some more muscle. And these are just simple examples. But whatever that is, write the goal and write down the steps to achieving that goal. What this is going to do is it's going to give you a compass now. Now you have a measuring stick to see how you're showing up each day. You wake up each day, now you got a plan. Okay, let me go to these 3 to 5 goals. Okay, what are the steps to achieving these goals? Okay, once I look at the steps to achieving these goals, I'm going to look at what I call the low-hanging fruit. What are the goals that I can achieve the fastest? It's just like building credit. Just like building credit. You don't focus on the big bills first. You focus on the ones that are small, get those out of the way. You know, that way you can start focusing on the larger things by positioning yourself. Now, as you do this, each day you wake up, focus on that low-hanging fruit. Focus on those steps. What step am I going to take today? How many of these steps can I achieve today? So you may say, okay, I want to reach X amount of volume, or, I want to make it to this Thailand trip. Okay, how many calls do I need to get on? How many people do I need to be talking to? At a minimum, you should be getting on at least 3 to 5 calls a day. And that's a minimum. You should be reaching out to people, having conversations, posting content. As I said in that intro call, that's free advertisement every time you post. You should be telling everyone that comes across your path about what you're doing. And I know this is hard for a lot of people. Well, I don't know them and I don't want to come off as salesy. No, don't come off as salesy. Come off as excited. You guys have something that can literally impact and change someone's life, their health. You guys, if you've been in this company long enough, you've heard the success stories. You've heard the testimonials. This stuff works. There are people out here who are suffering with conditions that many of you have already overcome because of this product. You don't have to always just use your information or your story. Share other people's story. It's just like, again, being in the church. You church, and what are you listening to? A bunch of stories of people who overcame massive challenges, but the person preaching maybe never experienced any of those. Different time, different season, different society altogether. But the stories still carry weight. And Les Brown said something when I was being mentored by him years ago. He said, stories, or excuse me, not stories, but he said, information doesn't change lives. You can share all the information until you're blue in the face. Information doesn't change lives. Being able to tell a story that people can connect to and believe it's possible for them, that's what changes lives. So you got to be excited about this product. People are becoming more health conscious than ever. So again, ask yourself, what must I learn? Maybe it's communication. Maybe it's creating content. Maybe it's how to articulate the stories and the testimonials. What must you learn? What are some things right now that you could get better at? Look at each one of those areas. Just write them down when you have time. You can write that question down now and then come back to it later and really start doing an evaluation of your life. What are some things I can get better at? Because once you start applying the action of learning and application, because it's not enough just to learn the information or to learn what to do, you have to apply what you're doing. Because, we talk about this all the time. Knowledge is power. No, knowledge is not power. Knowledge is just information remembered. Power is in wisdom. Wisdom is knowledge embodied. You believe in this product, show it through your actions. Show it through your actions. Embody what this product can do. Become that person that's inspired to help people. Become that person that's inspired to share. Become that person that's excited about what this product can do. But do this in other areas of your life too. Your relationships, your mental state, your emotional state, all of these things, your spiritual state. I need to become the embodiment of the wisdom the knowledge that I've gained so that I can truly live a wise life. It's in wisdom that we thrive. Not just information. Not just information. And the more you do this, eventually you move into the final zone of growth, which is the quote-unquote growth zone. Now, growth zone, this is where vision is realized. This is where the manifestation.
Can you repeat that fourth zone? You're cutting out.
Yes, the growth zone. The growth zone. So it's from first to fourth, it's the comfort zone, the fear zone, the learning zone, and the growth zone. Growth zone is where you start seeing the fruit of the work that you've been doing. This is where you start seeing the results show up. And the results are only going to show up when you embody the wisdom that is shared with you, that you learn, and you apply it to your life. Growth can't happen if you don't apply the knowledge. So soak it up. This is what I started doing. Because again, coming from where I came from, people hear me talk now and they're like, wow, you're such a passionate speaker. You're such a great speaker. And I'm like, well, you have no idea how far I've come, because before my life changed, every other word out of my mouth was a curse word. I didn't know how to articulate myself this way, but you know what I started doing? I started studying my mentors like Dr. Wayne Dyer, Zig Ziglar, Les Brown, Dr. Miles Monroe, and many others, Tony Robbins. And I started looking at what made them great. How did they use tonality? How did they connect their message to the people that they were speaking to? How did they hold the energy of a room? Where did they pause when they would say certain things? How did they monitor and manage their cadence? And so what I did is I took from them what aligned with me. I didn't imitate them, I emulated them, meaning I took what was for me and I started to apply it. The same thing, if you guys want to be successful in this business, then you have to look at the people who are successful in the business and follow them on social media. If you're not following them, who's successful? How are they communicating? What type of posts are they sharing? How are they engaging in the comments? How are they using their story to impact other people? What skills did they develop over time? Study them. Study them. And as you embody this and you own it and you start becoming that version of you that's also capable, guess what? You're going to be able to start manifesting these results as well. And the reason this is important is because as you master self to become the best version of you, for those of you who are building teams, you become a beacon, a light to so many other people who are looking up to you. Leadership 101. Become the leader you would want to follow. If it feels like your team isn't engaging, maybe think about the way you communicate. Think about the way you show up. Because your people are going to follow your lead. They're going to follow your lead. And it's all about culture, which is one thing that I love about LifeVantage is this culture of family. It's culture of winning together. And you must become ingrained in the culture. Become one with the culture so that you can build and create the life you want. But it doesn't just start there. You know, as I said, my space of expertise is in self-mastery. And I always say there's 3 foundational stones. You guys see that what's on this side. This is my logo, black, white, and gold. And what my logo represents in the color scheme is from the darkness into the light, taking all challenges to alchemize it into pure gold value that I add to the world. The triangle represents mind, body, soul. I must embody this in everything that I am. How I show up, how I communicate, how I think, what I give my energy to. Tony Robbins says all the time, where your focus goes, your energy flows. So as a leader, you must be mindful of, what am I thinking on every day? You can't let this stinking thinking keep you from taking action. The over analytical thoughts keep you from taking action. No, what am I gifted to manifest? What version of myself must I become? It must become a must, and there must be urgency. And I must own that every single day. In the beginning, when you're first starting, you might not have the mental wherewithal. You might not have as much passion, whatever. Get around people who do, because I can promise you it will wear off. It will wear off on you. And then it trickles down. It trickles down. You know, but when we look at that triangle, mind, I'm going to talk about minds for a little bit, because you may say, well, I'm struggling with showing up this way. And, you know, oh, I'm an introvert. No, that's a personality trait. It's something, it's a learned behavior. You're whatever you say you are. And if you believe it, that's how you're going to show up in the world. Something that I teach when it comes to mindset. I don't talk about mindset like most people, because most of the time, if you hear someone say mindset, the first thing you think is the brain. I got to control how I think. I got to control how I think, you know, my brain, you know. But when I teach mindset, I always say, if I say I am thinking, it's not my brain saying I am thinking. It is the conscious awareness that thought is happening. So ultimately, I am the awareness of thought. I am not the thoughts itself. I am the awareness of thought. And so Eckhart Tolle talks about this in his book, The Power of Now. If you haven't read it, check it out. But when I become present in my life, in each moment, become aware of my state, the first thing that I'm going to do is in meditation. I don't know if any of you meditate. If you do, meditation is not about silencing the brain or silencing thought. It's about becoming the observer. It's about looking at the version of me that I desire to become and then observing my state. What am I currently thinking? Does this thought serve as a catalyst for me to become or manifest this version of myself? If it doesn't, I have to now put myself in a position where if I'm having negative thoughts, I have to now, in whether I'm journaling or whether I'm just thinking through it, I have to try to find a positive opposite to that thought. I have to find a positive opposite to override that negative thought. This is where the reprogramming happens. Because a lot of times you'll hear people say, I can't do it. I just can't do it. And it's like, whether you say you can or you can't, you're exactly right. If you say you can't, you won't. You won't. It won't happen because your energy, your state, your focus is directing energy to permeate your life to create the reality to align with that belief. And so, again, you are the awareness of thoughts. You are not your thoughts. That's programming. It's like me, and I say this all the time, sitting in front of this computer can only do what I allow it to do. But if I open up enough programs, say, like I did videography and photography for years. It's how I supported myself as I built my brand. If I got on here, say I've been working on other stuff, and I got on here and I said, I need to edit some video. But I got so many other programs open, eventually I get a message that says, you're running out of digital memory. Meaning my system is processing too much for me to run this program that I need to use right now. The same thing happens in your life. If you want to grow and you reach those moments where it feels like it's hard or you don't have the energy, it's not because you can't do it. It's because you're focusing on too many different things at once. And you got to get present with yourself. And so what I often will tell my clients to do, whether they're starting their day or when they feel overwhelmed, I'll have them do what I call box breathing. And some of you have probably heard of that. But I'll have them blow all the oxygen out of their body. Get rid of that. And then I'll have them at a count of 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll have them count in or breathe in through their nose. And then at a count of 4, I'll have them hold the breath, sit with it. And there's a reason this is powerful. And then as a count of 4, I'll have them exhale through their mouths. Really get present in your body. And what that does is it helps you regulate your nervous system. It helps you come back into the body without being so scattered and out here. It brings you out of your head, back into your heart. But something that I learned spiritually, and I'm not trying to preach to you guys this morning, but the word spirit, every time you see that, especially biblically, the word spirit is ruha, and it means the breath or the wind. The breath or the wind. So every time you feel like you're out of your body and you're losing control and things aren't working and you got to call these people and you got to get people signed up, slow down, reconnect to the breath, reconnect to the spirit. And I always say with self-mastery, you can't talk about personal and professional development until you talk about spiritual development. Because if you don't know what you are, you'll never fully understand what you have the power to create. If you think you are the little version of you that you've been, the programs, all that, then you'll never fully step into what's possible for you. You are a divine creator. You're creating in every single moment, whether you realize it or not. Where you are right now is a product of decisions you made back here. The choices you make, the way you communicated, the actions, where you gave your energy. You are a product now, and your life is a product now of past decisions. But we only ever live in the now. I'm not living in the past. But isn't it funny that for most of us, we allow ourselves to get stuck in the past and who we've been? We let other people tell us who we are and what we can do and what we can't do because of who we used to be and how we used to be. See, that was one of the first things I had to overcome when I decided to change my life. because I realized that from the moment that gun misfired, every breath that I would breathe was a gift, and I wasn't going to waste it. I wasn't going to waste it complaining. I wasn't going to waste it focusing on people and situations and circumstances that didn't elevate and evolve me and challenge me to be better. I wasn't going to waste time explaining myself to people what my vision was when most of those people didn't even have a vision for themselves. And I understood early on that if I have a vision for success in my life, a vision for healthy relationships in my life, if I have a vision for this, then the vision was given to my soul, not theirs. So I can't expect the world around me to see what I see in my heart until I start manifesting it. And so I put my head down, I started doing the work, I started studying, and I became the version of me that got to work with people that once other people laughed when I said I would work with them. Some of the same people who complained and said, oh, you'll never make that kind of money. You'll never work with those kinds of people. You'll never achieve that thing, are still where they are. And some of those same people call me for advice now. Be the light that other people can look to, personally and professionally. Become aware that you are creating these moments. You only ever have now. Right now, as I said, is a result of past decisions or past moments of now in which you chose to show up in a certain way, and you created this reality. The future and the past don't exist. The future is simply moments of now that you have yet to create. And so as you are growing in your life, in this journey, with LifeVantage, personally, professionally, as you are growing, it's important to really keep at the forefront of your mind the vision of you that you are, but you haven't met yet. Because if you can see the version of you that's capable of achieving these things, then guess what? You're already that version of you. You just haven't started acting like it yet. But the moment you start applying these things, the moment you start manifesting. And every seed you sow through every action, every word, every state that you operate in is going into the ground of your life, creating the next moment of now. But something else I always tell my clients, because people say, I just feel like, I'm trying to be something. I'm like, no, understand this. You are a seed that was sown into the earth. Just like an apple seed or an apple tree. An apple doesn't have to fight to be an apple, and an orange doesn't have to fight to be an orange. It already is. You don't have to fight to be a powerful creator in your life. You don't have to fight to be in a healthy relationship in your life, because the healthy relationship starts with you, and everything else is going to mirror that. Every other experience is going to mirror that. You are already everything you were ever created to be. And it's up to you to choose to tap into that and ask people, in your group, in your community, your upline, how can I be better? What are some challenges that you see me having that maybe I can work on? Because we all have blind spots. You don't know what you don't know, and you can't see what you can't see. And if you just stay in your bubble, you'll never see it. Because in your current reality, all you see is what you are. But you're so used to being you that you don't even realize how powerful you are. You're so used to operating based on a program, based on experiences, based on what people said, based on what life looks like, that you don't even see that you are a powerful creator that can create whatever you want. There is literally nothing stopping you but you. Screw the naysayers. Accept the no's. Because if it's a no, it may be a not right now. But if they see you showing up consistently, it may be a yes later. And the more people that you're willing to hear no from in life, in purpose, in business, the more opportunities you're setting yourself up for the yeses in the future or the yeses right now. But are you willing to become the version of yourself that's not afraid to hold the fear? Like I said, fear is my best friend. It's my soul letting me know I'm stepping into something new. And if I'm not willing to be uncomfortable, I'll never be the uncommon few.
Wow, Princeton, this is powerful, powerful. Fear, fear we've always been told is false experiences appearing real. And once you make a little minute shift, you take an action that may be out of your comfort zone, that is where the growth starts happening. And that's where you start really feeling empowered. And it just, as you mentioned, what I loved is not biting the whole elephant off for the goal, but taking those small little steps right away so that you feel and you are successful by accomplishing that one goal. And Shaun Johnson is going to share a little bit about what she's learning through you and what is helping her, and what her goals are, but also just what's helping her get from this point to the next point. So Shaun, take it away. Princeton, thank you, thank you. And if there's time, we are going to wrap up in a few minutes, but if there's time at the bottom of the hour, if anyone has a question or if there's any last minute thoughts you have, we'd love to hear that. So Shaun.
Yes. All right. Thank you. So for me, like I said in the beginning of the call, he called me out. He's like, "You're too comfortable." So, and he's right. And so and I've had my own fears, and I've talked to you, Marisa, about that too, of like, I've got stuck just like all of us of what are they going to think? What are they going to say? And I've been doing this long enough that, there's people that are like, "You're still doing it. Okay, I'll talk to you." And then there's some that, it's, like we've dealt with some of the no's and then their own internal talk, and some people are just like, you're in a different place in my life, and they've backed away. And I've also learned that part of that too is I'm a mirror for them, and I'm able to see them, and there's other things happening, but it's all meshed into certain fears. And so that's one thing that he and I have talked a lot about, and still talking through. We even had a long conversation last night of like, okay, now what are the actionable steps, looking at Thailand. I love Thailand. For anyone who hasn't gone, it is one of my favorite places. I was this close to moving there. I don't know if many people know that. I came home from there and was like, huh, and I seriously considered it for a few years. And it's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. And I look at my volume, and right now I'm at about 10,000. And so to get there, you have to hit 80,000 by the end of October to hit that first qualification, then the end of November. And so it's like, okay, I have got a lot of work to do. And what does that entail? And so it's making constant outreaches. It is setting up, doing in person, it's doing virtuals, it's getting out of my comfort zone again. Like I did in the beginning, I grew really fast. Is I was setting lunch meetings, I was setting coffee meetings every day. I was just a girl on a mission. And it's reminding myself of that. And there's no question or doubt that I am meant to build LifeVantage. There's been sign after sign after sign. I am supposed to be here. I am supposed to build here. And I know that. So it's just helping push me out of my comfort zone. So he's been really good. And obviously being in a relationship adds a different dynamic, but he doesn't treat me different than probably some of his clients too, where he's like, no, I see this. You got to work on this. So it's been beautiful in that way. And we've even been diving in and creating even a bigger vision all together. So yeah, he really knows what he's doing. As you heard on here, he's no BS. And yeah, it's quite remarkable. So if anybody who has the chance or desire to work with him, it's really worth it. So
Beautiful, Shaun. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm excited to see what's ahead for you. Yeah,
me too.
it's Thailand. Let's
It's
do
getting
it.
I mean, I'm sweating even thinking about it, but it's my own dialogue. It's my own thing. And so, but I know what I'm capable of. And so it's stepping into that, and it's nice it's good having a good push. So
Absolutely. Who on here has a question for Princeton? Nobody wants this business? Nobody wants to go to the next level?
and even questions too, I just to give some people examples, right? Because it's probably like, well, what do I ask and what do I do, right? Like if you
Okay.
want, like maybe let's get specific of, okay, I'm feeling this block. What's one actionable step? Get a taste of what he can offer in that way. So if you're stuck somewhere, ask a question of that, like, where am I stuck?
Or if you're brand new, know that you
Mhm.
have lots and lots of questions. Or if you just haven't started really, you've been involved with LifeVantage because of the community, but it hasn't been your time to really go. And you're now going, okay, what do I do? I fear is holding me back. Ask a question.
Oh, or is there something in the chat?
Yeah, Jackie just said, "Where am I stuck? What is my next step?" What do you feel your main challenge is right now? What is one thing? Just give me one thing that you're struggling with right now that you would like to get better at.
She said she was just
Oh,
putting that out
oh,
there.
I was just putting that out there for other people in case they didn't hear that. But I think for me in general, it's getting comfortable um being a medical professional and sharing this. Like, because I have my other business and that's where I've been very conflicting because, going networking, um, that's always been an issue for me. I don't want to come across salesy, but I'm very passionate. Everybody knows that I'm the queen of passion about this. And sometimes I push too much and I don't read those signals very well because I am passionate and I know it has power. And I think that's my biggest issue is getting comfortable to go to a networking thing and saying I'm with LifeVantage as opposed to a nurse. I always say I'm Jackie Shore, I'm a cancer coach, and I teach people how to get well, creating healthy cells with activation. And that's kind of like my new spiel, I guess, that I'm trying to work on and get comfortable with.
I love that. One thing that I will say to you, Jackie, because you and I, we've met in
Yeah.
person and when it comes to this, I say you bridge the gap. You bridge the two of those together. You are a nurse, meaning you are a healthcare professional
Mm-hmm.
who works and who has partnered with LifeVantage because you see the benefits of this company and how they can help other people bypass a lot of what's happening, in the sick care system. Share your own story of the things that you saw, the things that weren't in alignment for you, and why you're so passionate about sharing this with people. Because you are a healthcare professional, you have a lot of wisdom to share. And everything else, it's like what I decided to do is now I work in this space. And the reason I'm so passionate about working in this space is because of ABC, XYZ. Just bridge the gap. Use your professional expertise to bridge the gap with what you're doing and stand on that. I think a lot of the times people, they don't want to come off as too much, but I'll tell you right now, there's been plenty of times I've had people tell me to tone it down. They've told me, they look at me like, they've never seen energy. I'm like, I'm excited. I tell people all the time, if my light is too bright, put some sunglasses on because it's only going to get brighter. I have something amazing to share with the world. I see an opportunity to share something and that's going to help people. I do them a disservice every time I don't share it. So if you have a problem with me sharing it, then what I have just isn't for you. And I can love you, but I got to love you from a distance. That's okay. Be that powerful but come back to yourself. Love and honor all the work that you've done to gain the wisdom that you've gained. Think about everything you've had to endure and go through or grow through to become the version of you that you are now, and start celebrating yourself in that space. Even if people didn't see it, they didn't understand it, it's not about them, it's about you. It's about you, and you are too valuable to this world not to show yourself to the world. So bridge the gap, own the power of your expertise, and step into it.
Love that. I think Barb,
Thank you.
I thank you, Jackie, for asking the question. I think Barb has something, and Mia. And let's do this quickly so that we can let people get on their day. I'm also going to put Princeton's Instagram link in the chat so that you can follow him and connect with him and reach out to him. Like if you've got any questions, you guys, and what does this session look like or whatever, feel free to reach out. Go ahead, Babs.
Hey, everybody. Good to see you all. There's
you.
no coincidence of why I'm on this call. Something just told me to get on it because I haven't connected with all of you for a while. And I'm just so happy for you both, Shaun and Princeton, of what you're doing and how you're inspiring others, along with the whole team, Marisa and so forth, and Mia. My question is, how do I protect my energy?
How do I protect my energy? Okay, remember what I said. Where your focus goes, your energy flows. If I want to protect my energy, this is where creating healthy boundaries comes in. Not just for other people, but for myself. I wake up and I'm very intentional about the decisions that I make, the conversations that I have, the things that I give my focus to. If something starts to happen in my day, And it's something that I don't have to focus on, whether it's an argument or, maybe things are just not in flow. Again, I'm going to get focused right now. And I'm going to ask myself, or I have a statement, I have a mantra. If it doesn't serve me, it doesn't deserve me. If it's not in the
That's
flow,
good.
I let it go. If it doesn't serve me, it doesn't deserve me. If it's not in the flow, I let it go. And you got to start creating boundaries and also create space. I call them golden moments throughout your day where you check in with yourself. Set a little alerts on your phone where you check in with yourself. How am I feeling? Because it's a discipline, right? How am I feeling? Mm.
Love that. Love that.
Does this honor me? If not, where can I put the energy? Where can I shift my focus? It's all about what you're focusing on and what you're giving energy to. And I can go
Princeton,
deeper, but for the sake of time,
if it doesn't
Thanks.
serve me,
That
it doesn't deserve me,
deserve me.
let it go. If
if
it's
it's
not
not
in
in
the
the
flow,
flow, I let it go.
if it's
Thank
not,
you so much.
yeah, that's awesome.
Appreciate you guys.
One of my mantras is stand guard at the gate of your consciousness. I think it has a lot of the same feelings. I love that. That's beautiful. Let it go. If it's not in the flow, let it go. Mia, real quick.
Just very quick, when you've been doing something for a long time, and people know that that's what you do, you're very passionate about it. I mean, I've never wanted to go anywhere else. I love this company. I love what we stand for. I love the idea that we are impacting so many lives on a health level and financially. My biggest challenge is when you have been a part of it for so long and you imagine yourself as that person that's created a multi-million-dollar business, but you're not there yet. What's stopping that? Because for me, yes, of course, I think about how that would help our lives, but I also think about how I'm impacting so many other lives. And that feeds my soul. I want to be that catalyst that really helps other people live happier and healthier and wealthier. So I have to ask, what is keeping me from that? Is it my circle of influence? Or is it, I mean, what is it in me that needs to grow? Because I'm sure there's tons.
Really
Oh
good
yeah.
stuff,
Well,
Mia. That was great.
mhm. One thing that I will say, one thing that my mentors taught me years ago was if you're the smartest in your smartest person in your circle, get into a new circle. You need to be surrounding yourself with people who are 5 to 10 steps ahead of you. Get into new environments. The thing that is stopping us the most is always
Can you
us.
say that again, just a little slower about the circle?
If you are the smartest person in your circle, you need to get into a new circle. If people are really familiar with you, you've been amongst that space for too long. Maybe start going to some networking events, start looking in your area, what's going on, go out, meet people. But also, when you look at social media, this is why I tell people social media, every time you post something, if I post a reel, it's going to reach outside of people that I know. And so I would focus a lot on within this company, getting good at sharing content that speaks to who your ideal client is. And this is something that I could help you with, you know, to really dial it in. But speak to your ideal client because your ideal client doesn't speak the language you speak. And so really it would be a matter of changing the messaging, and just a little bit, a few tweaks here and there are going to help you reach more people, especially using platforms like TikTok, which usually will get a lot more reaches. Because I'll tell you guys something, and I know we got to hop off of here. Back in the day, my first event, I held it. One person showed up. One person showed up because back then there was no social media. You guys are spoiled nowadays and you take it for granted. One person showed up. And next thing you know, what began to happen was that one person invited 10 people. The next week I had 10 people because I was hosting events every weekend, every Friday. In 2 months, there were 250 people showing up to those events. Now imagine this on social media, people get upset. My reach isn't going. It's like I'm only reaching 200 people. Only 200 people saw 200 people. The problem isn't your reach. The problem is the messaging. The problem is how you're putting yourself out there. And so people love learning from you, but people buy from people they like, know, and trust. So as I'm creating content, I'm going to blend in a little fun, which you do. I love your voice, by the way. I'm going to blend in a little fun, but when I post my content around the different products, I'm sharing testimonials. I'm asking questions. I might post a reel just saying, you know what, I can't believe I'm at this stage in my life and I was just reading, or maybe I just experienced this breakthrough and healing, or whatever it is. How many of you have ever experienced this and you post that? Post questions, challenge people, see who engages. But every time you post, if you're only reaching 200 people, that's 200 more than I could reach when I got started. You know, so post every day, go live maybe 3 times a week. But again, I'm trying to, there's a lot that I could say, but reach out to me. I can help you with that. It's just how you're showing up, and you just got to move outside of the spaces that you're used to and just tweak a few things, and you'll
And
definitely see
love-led leadership come from love.
100%.
It's, so thank you, Princeton, so much for this. This was a great call. I appreciate you so much. Anything else you would like to add?
No, just
Happy
if you
to-
guys want to connect, reach out to me on social media. The link is in the chat. And yeah, you guys will be seeing more of me. But I appreciate you guys for giving me your time today. And let's go win. Let's go do
This
what we
was
were
so
born to
great.
do.
And you are in Team Inspired Change on Facebook. So feel free anytime that you feel lit up to just, go live in there or send a video in there. You are more than welcome. We so appreciate you. And yes, and excited for all that you're creating, excited for you and Shaun. And just, we're happy you're here because LifeVantage is a mission for sure. Thank you.
100%.
One of the best calls ever. Yay. All right. So with that, I'm going to have you guys hang up because I have somebody on here, Kathy. She's brand new. Welcome, Kathy. By the way, Kathy Jordan, she is under Sharon LaBracca's team and under Mickey. And we're going to do our little first connection, our first onboarding. So I'm going to stop the recording. I should have stopped it earlier. Sorry.